All right, good evening, everyone. We're dealing with another round of showers and storms this evening. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for most areas until 5 a.m. Sunday, and we're just going to go through and just track them and talk about them ahead. So here is what we're dealing with. So we take a look at our pointer. Many of the watches and warnings pretty much north of Lake Winnebago. The Northwoods is going to be the primary threat for the severe weather event right now. Actually, we're starting to see some of the storms enter the area. And as we take a look, we can track it out on radar. But the bulk of the storms coming in from western Wisconsin right now, some of those were pretty strong. We saw actually a tornado-warned storm or two in Minnesota. But right now in our region, we're just starting to see the leading edge of these showers and storms. I know it's a late night, so thank you for anyone who's joining me out there. Some late night showers and storms. We could see some thunderstorms wake you up in the early morning hours, but notice with these storms there is a lot of lightning associated with it, and we're going to see that thunder and lightning not let up by the time it gets in our region. And another thing I did want to point out is we were talking about in our last update, I'll just pause it right now, but in our last update we were talking about for areas south on what we were going to see in terms of the severe threat, and in the last hour or two, we've really starting to see some of those showers and storms build up to the southwest. This is what we were talking about. We were looking at Futurecast earlier and radar and satellite, and not much in terms of rain there, but now that's started to pop up. So, again, for areas not in the severe thunderstorm warning, south of Lake Winnebago, you are not out of the woods tonight. You're still likely to see a storm from this big line of showers and storms we have making its way through the region. And we can even check out some of these lightning strikes. As you see, some of these cells are quite strong, especially in western Wisconsin. Those storms are pretty strong right now. And we do have some severe thunderstorm warned storms near Rhinelander right now. Those have been warned pretty much throughout the last hour. A lot of lightning associated with these cells. Rain's coming down pretty hard. And these cells are pretty much just getting into our viewing area right now. So over the next hour or two, we're going to see those showers and storms pretty much make their way to areas through mountain and areas pretty much in the entire Northwoods. I know a couple of you mentioned you were camping out earlier or planning to camp tonight. Again, when thunder roars, go indoors because these storms are packing a punch. A lot of lightning with these storms, and we're seeing some heavy gusts as well. We had a couple reports of some 70-mile-an-hour gusts out in western Wisconsin. If these storms do stay together, that's something we can't expect from these storms. And just taking a broad look of what we're going to see for the track over the next hour or two, it's worth noting most areas are going to see showers and storms, I'd say around the 3-4 o'clock hour is when most of us could pretty much see some of those showers and storms entering our region. I'd say over the next hour or so. I know someone mentioned earlier in Stevens Point when they were going to get rain pretty much in the next hour. I'd say Wausau is pretty much just about to get hammered. Mountain, again, right ahead of those showers and storms. And then Door County and along the lakeshore, you're the last areas to get in on this line of showers and storms. I'd say we're getting close to 5 a.m. and then those showers and storms exit the region heading into overnight. So it's definitely going to be a good day tomorrow, but we're going to have to keep an eye on these showers and storms through the evening. A couple of these could be severe warned, and it's something we're going to have to keep a watch on. Can't rule out an isolated tornado with these systems, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. Again, here's a severe thunderstorm warning. This is just south of Rhinelander. We're getting into Landglade County, which is pretty close to our region. And again, this is in effect till Sunday, till around 2 a.m., and we'll just click and see on what else we have to do it. Yep, so it was issued 1:22 a.m. It's going to last till 2 a.m. Eastern or Central Time, and these storms will continue to make their way off the coast. So let's just take a look at some of the storm reports we have across the state. So these storms are packing a punch, especially for areas in western Wisconsin. And you see near Minneapolis, just southeast, that's where we actually did have a confirmed tornado on the ground. And that was about, I'd say, a couple hours ago. But notice all the hail reports. We'll see like this one in northwestern Wisconsin, hail up to an inch. And as we look in Rhinelander even right now, hail about an inch as well. And across the state, notice also the the wind reports. There's a lot of wind reports as we get close to the upper peninsula of Michigan and in northern Wisconsin of a lot of strong winds. So we'll see. Let's see some of these reports. So the one near Rhinelander about right now looks like trees down on Highway 45. And as we keep looking to areas in western, tree fell on power lines, and that's what's going to be expected with these storms. Storm Prediction Center in their severe thunderstorm watch has said pretty much we could see some 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts with these systems as they're going to be packing a lot of strong wind. That's going to be the main threat with these systems as a whole, and we can see that in the Storm Prediction Center's outlook on damaging wind threat pretty much across the state. Notice now this is for tomorrow, actually. So heading into tomorrow, that severe threat pretty much shifts offshore, and the damaging wind will be over, I'd say, pretty much in the early morning hours. It's going to be a great afternoon tomorrow. Temperatures, once again, climbing into the mid-80s, so above average for this time of year. But here's the timeline with this system. I think, again, the storms are starting pretty much now. The main threat with this system is going to be the heavy rain, some strong wind. Could see some hail as well. The Storm Prediction Center did say we could see 2-inch diameter hail. And we saw some of those hail reports, especially in western Wisconsin, of hail up to an inch. That is damaging, so definitely keep an eye on your cars overnight, especially keep up to date on the warnings. We could still see an isolated tornado chance. I don't think that's likely. We're going to see any widespread damage from that. I just think the high wind threat with these systems is the big story with this. So as we go back to radar, we'll take another look and look at all that lightning associated with this system. A lot of lightning, especially as we look. Rhinelander's getting pretty much crushed by the lightning right now. We'll try to zoom in on one of these systems right now. So we'll go to, I'd say, about an hour ago. And notice all the rain starting to develop from the south. We did not see that before, and that's going to pretty much hammer Stevens Point and Wausau in a short bit. But let's take a look at some of the lightning strikes. We'll go across this system that's just about to get into Stevens Point. And number of strikes, 366 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes in just the last 15 minutes. So a lot of lightning with these systems. This is even more lightning than what we saw earlier. And also I want to point out, when we were talking earlier, the big thing we were talking about is nothing pretty much to the south and west. That's pretty much changed over the last hour or two. We're starting to see this line thoroughly come together completely into southern Minnesota. As we put it in the loop, notice how those showers and storms started to extend off the southern branch of the system. A lot of viewers earlier were telling me that they were looking on radar and didn't think we were going to get any showers and storms because most of the areas south weren't appearing on radar, but it popped up really quick, and now we're dealing with that whole line. So here's the timeline I'm thinking for this system. The most at-risk time of the early morning hours, I think, is going to come between 3 and 4 a.m., especially for the Fox cities. I think that's right around the times we're going to get in on these storms. And then I'd say the Northwoods is pretty much just going to get hit in the next hour or two. And then this exits pretty much on the lakeshore for the breakfast hours, and then we're clearing up tomorrow. So let me take a look at some of the questions we have on Facebook. Is it going to hit Green Bay? Yes. So this system will not fall apart before it gets to Green Bay. I'd say the system, it's unlike the system we saw earlier this morning in the fact that it does have that energy from the cold front that's going to allow it not to weaken. And that's a big thing when it comes to these lines of showers and thunderstorms. You're going to need the fuel to keep them going. So seeing the showers and thunderstorms riding that cold front with a lot of what we call as meteorologists CAPE, convective available potential energy, this is what pretty much drives these systems. And the fact that we're not cutting off that fuel source is pretty much going to allow those storms to stay together. Different from what we saw this morning. I know a couple of viewers told me this morning we had some showers and storms up north pretty much dissolve as we got close to Door County. And the difference with that is it didn't have that fuel source, and the severe threat was pretty much coming from Minnesota, and it really peaked on the Minnesota-Wisconsin border. I'd say the system is pretty much just peaking now, and we're seeing that with the lightning. Lightning's a good indicator to see how strong these storms are, and when you're seeing constantly lightning increase. I know that one system I did highlight earlier in west of Stevens Point. Earlier, that same system only had about 160 lightning strikes per 15 minutes. To go up to 366 lightning strikes is some significant strengthening, and these systems are going to pretty much continue to strengthen. It's just going to be something we're going to have to watch. So again, here is the severe thunderstorm watch we do have in effect. Again, for areas north of Lake Winnebago, includes the Fox Cities up through the Northwoods. If you're camping, keep an eye on the radar. If thunder roars go indoors, we might see some thunder here shortly, especially in the 1 a.m., 2 a.m. hour. Then on Door County, this is going to be right when the system starts to wrap up tomorrow morning, pretty much around 5, 6 a.m. We'll see the system start to make its way offshore. But I want to highlight for the areas south, a lot of people think you might be out of the woods. That's not true. We've seen on radar that system pretty much come together, and it's not going to break apart. So now for areas south, I say we're going to see those showers and storms stick together pretty much through the entire lakeshore, except I think the thing that is the difference between the Northwoods and down south near Lake Winnebago is I think in total rainfall, total rainfall up north is going to be greater than what's up south. And we can check this out on Futurecast. I'll just have to get there in a second. But again, severe thunderstorm warnings for areas south. Actually, while we're on radar, let's take a look at some of the hail sizes across the state. I know we've been starting to see some reports of an inch hail, and we had this, so here we go. This is west of Stevens Point. This is right now across pretty much western central portions of Wisconsin, and these are some of the systems that are eventually going to get to our region. So this is, by the way, radar detected hail. So we're going to have to see some ground reports to know how much of that hail is actually getting down to the surface. But let's see if we can click through. I'm kind of curious. It looks like these systems, so this in central Wisconsin, see if we can get a size estimate on the hail. Yeah, so 1.5 inches hail for areas in central Wisconsin. And I suspect the areas that could get some significant hail tonight would be primarily for areas south. So areas south won't get as much rainfall total, but I think we could get some hail, as it looks like over the past hour or two, we're starting to see some more severe storms off to the south and west. Storm reports thus far, pretty much, we saw the tornado threat near Minnesota. Tornado confirmed on the ground in southeast of Minneapolis, but in our region, see Rhinelander. We'll check out what they're reporting for hail and wind. So they're reporting an inch-size hail at 1250, and notice all those trees down. A lot of reports coming in of trees down with the heavier wind gusts we've been pretty much getting across the region. Especially, it looks like in the Upper Peninsula, a lot of trees down. Tree fell on vehicle, and that's what you can get with some of these gusts. Some of these gusts could get up to 70 miles an hour, according to the Storm Prediction Center. So that's going to be something to watch as we make our way through the evening hours. As we look, we'll try to get a look on Futurecast in a second and fully time it out. So that's the overnight storm threat. That's the timeline I'm sticking with. That line, I think, stays together. Unlike the line we saw this morning, main threat's going to be high wind. Again, hail possible. We could see 2 inches of hail. All right, so here's Futurecast. This is fully breaking it down. I'm just looking at some of the Facebook comments right now. What are we looking at for De Pere by Chelsea? I think we're going to get in on those showers and storms, I'd say, pretty much right around 3, 4 o'clock. I think 4 o'clock's the best timing now for the Fox Cities when we're going to get the rain. And we can see this on Futurecast. So this is our high-res model making its way through the early morning hours. I notice all the heavy stuff in the region at 5 a.m. And then most of that rain pretty much exits tomorrow morning. We're just dealing with some lingering clouds. It's going to be a gorgeous day tomorrow, despite the severe threat tonight. Temperatures will drop back into the 80s, but here's the main difference with this storm. I'll take that out. But we do have energy with this storm. That's the thing we didn't have with the showers north yesterday. But next 3 days, we're looking pretty good as well. So let me just go back and just walk through the full timeline once again. So here's where I've outlined where the system is heading. Pretty much, it's right on top of Wausau right now. Look at all those lightning strikes. We're going to see some warnings pop off this in Stevens Point by 2:30, Fox Cities by 4, and then off the lakeshore by 5. So we're going to have to watch that timing as well. And here's my full just breakdown of the timing. Again, we're dealing with the storms right now, but main threat's going to be high wind. Wraps up, I'd say, 6, 7 a.m. Hail's possible in some areas. Main threat is going to be that high wind. And let me we'll walk through one more time before we wrap up here. Get a little break to check out some of these storms once again. Here's what we're dealing with on radar. Again, widespread storms pretty much building across the state now. And there is no sign of weakening whatsoever right now with these storms. The lightning strikes is my indicator of this storm. These storms are not weakening. If anything, these storms are actually strengthening. Excuse me. So just north of La Crosse, that's where we're starting to see some of those storms starting to fire up. Then as we make our way through pretty much close to our viewing area now, Wausau just about to get hit with some showers and storms. Mountains looking like we're going to get thumped in about a half hour or so. Again, this is going to make it to the Fox Cities, I'd say, around 4 a.m., and that's where we can see the main severe threat. A lot of lightning with this system, so we're going to, some people may wake up. I know a lot of people like to sleep to thunder and lightning as well, but these could be some boomers, especially with how strong some of these storms will survive to the lakeshore. No weakening whatsoever, I think, from these systems. And here's just a look at all that lightning. I mean, that's a lot of lightning. Again, let's check in on that one cell that I had off to our south. We'll see how many lightning strikes. It looks like it's even gotten, if I had to guess, more lightning with this system. So let's just take a big chunk of it. 426 lightning strikes now. So it's going to continue to strengthen as we make our way closer to the lakeshore. And I'll just go through the storm threats before we just wrap up. I need a break of Red Bull or maybe some water, stay up a little bit longer. But here's the timeline. We're going to keep seeing these storms through these next couple hours, especially up in the Northwoods. If you're in the Northwoods right now, I'd definitely be glued to your Storm Team 5 weather app, tracking the radar, especially with the amount of lightning. And I know some viewers messaged earlier about camping. If you're up in the Northwoods right now, I'd strongly consider just taking cover. It's not worth it to be outside with all the thunder and lightning. Again, you could also catch a strong wind gust up there and the tree could fall. It's just not worth it. So when thunder roars, go indoors up there. And we're going to see the main threat is going to be the high wind pretty much. Hail possible for some areas. We'll see. We could see hail up to 2 inches. Again, wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour. So I'm going to go back and take a break right now. I'm going to thank you all for joining me. I know it's the early morning hours, and a lot of us are a little bit sleepy, but some of us may wake up to some of these showers and storms. So thanks for joining in, and I'll be back with some more updates, hopefully, and hopefully everyone stays safe this evening.